going on, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Leak Busters. In Leak Busters, I'm going to examine leaks and I'm going to go through them and determine whether they are fake or not just by looking at them. I don't know everything about game design and how things work, but I think it's pretty easy to tell when something looks fake or not. And we can find inconsistencies by comparing it to other Smash footage. So the leak that we're busting today is the Ken in Smash leak. I could see him being put in Smash as an Echo Fighter. He has a pretty high potential to become an Echo Fighter in Smash because he pretty much is the equivalent of an Echo Fighter in his own games to Ryu. And it makes sense and fits perfectly if somebody wanted to make a fake leak such as this of Ken. It would just make a lot of sense and it would turn a lot of heads because it seems believable because of how well it's done. But with that being said, let's analyze this picture and let's find the things that it has good going for it. The first thing I instantly notice is the collision detection. A lot of fake leaks don't take collision detection into consideration, so a lot of characters you see are just standing in one still position on a flat platform or they're in the air. In this case, we're on Moray Towers where your feet will actually clip through the floor in the actual game, and Ken's feet are clipping through the floor like the actual game. It's a good attention to detail if the leaker actually thought about this and they did this because they knew it would seem fake if his foot would not clip through the floor. So that gives it kind of a pass in a way because I feel like that takes a lot of work to do that if you're going to fake that. But you could easily just touch that up in Photoshop and make it look like it's clipping through the floor. And here's an example from the Smash website itself showing Ryu, and you can see his foot clearly clipping through the floor of the game. So that's accurate. Moving on, Pichu has not been playable whatsoever in any Smash Ultimate demo. We've only seen him in the footage through the Nintendo Directs that we've seen, such as the E3 Direct, for example, when they highlighted Pichu. But we've never seen Pichu in this exact pose in Smash Ultimate yet at all through any footage. So either the leaker had to recreate this or this is real. And those are a lot of the good things going for it besides the whole debug menu, and honestly I'm in between on that one because I don't feel like that proves whether it's fake or real. It's really easy to add a debug mode on Photoshop, just get a debug mode and create that, or that actually being in the game, so I don't know for sure. But now let's move on to the inconsistencies that I've noticed myself and that I've seen others notice, and I will credit them and I'll put their link in the description below. Now moving on, let's take a look at Pichu. Look closely at his foot. It's modeled very strangely compared to a real screenshot of Smash Ultimate. His foot has a strange curve near the bottom of it that it doesn't have. A lot of people say it could be the angle, but this screenshot I'm about to show you is pretty much the exact same angle, and it's kind of odd for his foot to curve like that. But again, that could just be a single frame of animation that makes his foot look like that, but still, it's still odd because we haven't seen anything from Pichu to compare it to, so it's hard to say it's real and that frame of animation is a real frame of animation that Pichu has when doing that taunt, it seems. Now let's move on to the main thing that throws me off. Ken's face. Ken's face is modeled like no other characters in Smash, and he's shaded completely different than all of the rest of the characters, even Ryu. And he is going to be most likely the Echo Fighter of Ryu, and he's just from the same series. So it only makes sense if he has a similar shading to him, but he does not have similar shading whatsoever, and he looks way darker compared to Ryu and everybody else. It just kind of doesn't line up, and he sticks out like a sore thumb. But moving on to something different, let's look at the character portraits themselves. I actually found this one on Twitter that I did not notice myself. But before we talk about the one that I saw from Twitter, I'm going to talk about this. Ken's character portrait is transparent, and a lot of people use that to say that that's not accurate, but I will come out to say that is actually accurate in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. If the character's in front of your portrait, it goes transparent, so that is accurate. But it's also kind of suspicious that he's player 4 all the way to the side and that his specific portrait is being seen through and Pac-Man just happens to be standing in front of it. It kind of just seems like they want to cover that up so they can't get caught with inconsistencies of the character portrait model. Moving on to something I found on Twitter, and the link to this will be in the description below, and I thought this was very interesting. This picture right here depicts the different versions of the game. August 8th being the current version of Smash that we've seen so far. The E3 being the E3 demo, that was the last build that we saw of Smash Ultimate. Now this leak has the same type of portraits as the E3 demo, the last build before the newest build. Why would Ken be a part of the E3 demo? And it just doesn't make sense overall for it to not be the newest and current version of Smash. And the E3 demo build was built to be a demo, not a testing ground for Nintendo themselves. They'd be working on the current build of the game. It wouldn't make any sense to go back to a previous build when you have the newest and current build that has the most to it. And to me, this is where the leak falls apart. And a lot of people will argue, well, it could be a debug mode thing. Well, here's the thing. There is no could be's, should be's. I feel like when it comes to leaks, they present the information there, and that's the information we have. We can't assume everything of how it works and take it as that is how it might actually be. When we have the facts right here, right in front of us, this is how it is, and this is what we got. Now, what are we going to do with this information? Are we going to determine this is fake or real? Now, I feel like a lot of the information that I presented in the inconsistencies, there wasn't a lot of them. This is one of the few leaks that doesn't have a lot of inconsistencies, believe it or not. But I feel like this leak is just not real. There are a couple inconsistencies that throws it off greatly. And another inconsistency I noticed was that the Moray Towers has no ink on the background. Now, before the stage starts, it actually gets inked in one of the Splatoon colors, but there's no ink where they're standing. And trust me, there is ink in that area. There's ink all over the stage, but in this instance, there isn't. Another thing people would argue that could be a debug mode thing as well, but still, we don't have the facts or the knowledge to determine that. And I'm gonna be real, it's really hard to tell what the words say on the little menu, the developer menu, because it's just so blurry. One thing I'll never understand with leaks is, why is everyone's phone from 2004? Honestly, it's really hard to determine if this one is busted or not. But I have no doubt in my mind that Ken won't be in Smash. I feel like he definitely will be in Smash. But I'm gonna go ahead and say this specific leak is busted.